Welcome in. We've got a room full of fantasy analysts tonight. We are joined by the Red Shirts FF Pod, the Fantasy Football Pod, with my boys, Matthew Betts. We got Matt Okada, so that's not going to be too confusing with two Matts. And John Helmkamp, as well as my typical co-host, Tyler. Tim, still on sabbatical. He's getting better. But boys, Red Shirts, what's going on? It's great to have you guys on. Let's throw it to Mr. Betts first. How are you this evening?
Man, I'm doing great. When Tyler hit us up to do this crossover pod, all of us were like, hell yeah, man. Like, this is going to be awesome. Let's do it. Combining, one of the best Dynasty shows out there with just three random dudes who talk into a microphone in the red shirts. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Super excited to talk tonight.
And I'll tell you, you're going to see this is a better crossover event than that stupid horse event on ESPN this evening. There was awful crossovers in that. It looked like someone was using an 8mm camera in some of those. I couldn't watch it for it. It was like the Blair Witch Project of basketball.
Wow.
It was terrible. It was really bad. It was really bad. Mr. Okada, I have to say that you the mustache and the little, you're looking kind of like V for Vendetta means Justice Long. That's all I'm saying.
Yes. Well, that's pretty funny that you mentioned that because I had my my send-off happy hour Zoom meeting with all my NFL Network coworkers the other day, and one of them brought out from some recess of his apartment room the mask from V for Vendetta and was like, "Look, it's Okada." Nice. So yeah, that's the look I'm going for. I'm planning to topple the French government soon. Was it the French government? I don't even really know.
I believe it was the French. Yes.
Okay, that's my main goal.
And John, how is your beard doing? It looks divine from where I'm sitting.
It's bushy and luscious and well oiled, and everything's going well with it. So it's a major love affair between me and my beard, and its depths will only continue to grow. So I'm
what kind of oil? Olive oil,
coconut.
It's not olive oil.
Avocado oil.
Avocado.
It's actually not avocado oil. There's actually a wonderful company up in Alaska that makes
salmon oil.
That's not manly at all.
Salmon. It's totally salmon.
All organic.
Yeah, they've been fantastic. It's called Anointed AK, and they decided to just hook me up. And they're not paid sponsors. They hooked me up. They're not a sponsor. # not a sponsor. I would love it. They hooked me up with like close to a year's supply of different beard oils and balms, and just sent me a total care package, and the stuff's been fantastic and I love it. And they have like really creative scents. Like one's like totally campfire scented, one's like a roasted marshmallow. Like it's really interesting.
Whoa.
But it's a lot of fun. I love what they're doing. And they are caring for my beard very well. So I am just rocking the bearded quarantine life. That's what I'm doing.
Nothing wrong. I feel in quarantine, like you could just hide some snacks in there and just like pull them out later, like a cheese stick.
Twizzler.
Like, boom, Twizzler, cheese stick, a Kit Kat, like all sorts of fun stuff you can hide in there.
Beef jerky would go really well. Like,
and it would have a nice scent to it as well.
Jerky.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Eggs. Stick with the Easter theme.
Every month, man, have some jerky. Tyler, what's going on with you? I know you had to shave your face because of work.
Yeah.
And you look like a baby.
Sorry, bro.
It's rough. I don't like it.
Your nose looks way bigger when you don't have facial hair, by the way.
Huh? Oh, I know. That I was afraid when I got tested for the N95 mask that they're gonna be like, sorry, your nose is too big. We cannot fit a mask over your nose.
Too much room for the air to get in.
And they were just gonna be like, you're just gonna have to deal with it. I mean, you might just be one of the sacrifices we have.
You get yourself furloughed.
Yeah.
So this lovely evening, we're gonna go over some stuff. We're gonna talk over some fantasy football news. There was a big trade in the NFL this week. We had an interesting signing, which we're gonna cover, and then we are gonna go through a mock draft, a superflex mock, where we each have 2 picks in each round. I've got it all written down in front of me, so I don't lose track. Although I probably will. That'll be a nice drinking game that you can play while you're at home. If Doug loses track, you can have a shot. That'd be great. If you get drunk by the end of this, you can send me a thank you letter in the mail. I'll give you my address afterwards if you'd like. But yeah, so we're going to do a mock draft, and we're going to focus today on the quarterback position. So, we're going to make these picks, and as we pick quarterbacks as they come off the board, we're going to kind of pause a little bit and have a discussion amongst men around this quarterback class. But we're going to give you all the regular, if I pick X player, I'm going to tell you why I picked him, why I like him, but we're not going to go into deep depths. We're going to focus that energy towards the quarterback position. So that is on the agenda for this evening. Hijinks will be had, fun will be had. I do not have an alcoholic beverage, unfortunately, so I will not be tipsy. I got to keep us organized. I'm sorry.
Someone's got to. It's okay. I'm
the designated driver tonight. How's that?
That's
I got to keep the car on the road. You guys can party in the back seat, do whatever you want to do.
Actually.
My eyes are on the road, and I am good to go. You're going to get there safe. I got you. All right, so let's start with the big NFL trade this week. And it was, Brandin Cooks gets traded again. Like, it's his thing. Like, he's like, you know what? I've only been here for a year. Like, I'm good. I'm going to go somewhere else now. So he's been traded a gang of times for multiple first-round picks. This time he gets traded for a second-round pick. So the Texans, those trading Texans, they acquire Brandin Cooks and a 2022 fourth-rounder from the Rams in exchange for the second-round pick in 2020, which is the 57th pick overall. Now, the thing about Brandin Cooks is he's been productive in the NFL. Apart from last season, he's had over 1,000 yards and at least 5 touchdowns in every season since 2015. The biggest concerns, and I'm going to go to Matt, a few bets on this one first, is Brandin Cooks' concussion history. Now, I know a lot of people in the Dynasty community have tried to buy low on Brandin Cooks. He's typically in the wide receiver 40 range in startups right now, or he was.
He went in a 10th round that I was just in. Just went tonight in a 10th round.
So he's going at wide receiver 40 and change, most likely. And a lot of people are like, whoa, Brandin Cooks, one more hit, and he's Jordan Reed. So, Mr. Betts, what is your take on Brandin Cooks, his concussion history? And is he someone in Dynasty that you are trying to acquire because you're like, you know what, I think he's going to be okay? Or you were just throwing up the red X and you're like, nah, I'm not playing the Brandin Cooks game at all. So, Mr. Betts, I'm going to go to you first.
Yeah, out of those two options, for me, I'm moving on from Brandin Cooks if I can with this news and the perceived value that he's the one in Houston, which I think he is. But it's just so risky at this point. I mean, he's had at least 5 documented concussions in the NFL alone. And last year was not a fluke in terms of how long it took him to get back on the field. So, yeah, it's a major concern. I sold him in a league that I play in. I owned him. And as soon as this news dropped, I sold him for a 2021 first.
Nice.
So I'm definitely looking to get out from under Brandin Cooks if someone in your league is buying.
That's a snap accept in my book. If someone's going to send you a 2021 first, I'm like,
oh yeah,
let's make it. The captain makes it happen. So let's go to Mr. Okada. What's your view on this trade? Are the Houstons just a bad organization? Like, what's going on?
I mean, well, first of all, the only part of that organization that's truly bad is Bill O'Brien as the general manager, which I guess is a reflection on the owners.
Phillips head screwdriver chin. I can't stand it.
It's so bad. He's all over the place, and this was another reflection of I don't really know necessarily what he's doing. I will say this is probably good for Deshaun Watson, at least for a year. I think that it's going to help him. Brandin Cooks is going to help stretch your offense. He's going to be productive as long as he's on the field, and he's going to make Deshaun Watson a little bit better. So that's good for him. It might turn out to be okay for the Texans offense this year. I don't think it's the right move for them as an organization. For fantasy, I don't hate picking up a little bit of Brandin Cooks. So obviously the concussion history is really concerning, but at the same time, before last year, he had not missed a game in the previous 4 seasons in the regular season. Granted, one of his concussions was in a Super Bowl over that span.
Yes, it was.
His 2 games missed last year were his only missed games in the last 5 years. And he has been very, very productive when he's on the field. So while he is definitely a high risk, higher than almost anyone, perhaps anyone left in the NFL besides Jordan Reed, I'm probably going to want to put him in my fantasy lineup while he's on the field, which has typically been pretty often. So I'm okay picking him up, not for a first. I'm not sending a 2021 first for Brandin Cooks. No, thank you. Maybe not even a second straight up, unless it's a late second. But if I can find someone who's willing to sell him a little lower than that, I would have him on my team and play him in my lineups.
Yeah, I think Cooks is, for a solid contending team, like if he's your wide receiver 3 every week, I don't see that being too much of a problem. I think that's pretty good, especially if you're in a win now mode and you're looking for, what could very well be a productive veteran. I think, giving that late second, early third, and maybe a little something else to get Cooks. It's a calculated risk, but it's a risk that could pay off. I mean, you've got an offense with a lot of vacated targets. The only thing is they got speed on that offense now. So you got Fuller, Stills, and you got Brandin Cooks. So you're going to have all sorts of speed. Watson throws a nice deep ball. So the offense is going to look a little bit different. But they can maneuver those guys in and out of different places in the lineup as well. So I think it gives them, versatility and speed on the field, which is very, very
all
interesting.
9 routes.
All 9, just straight streak.
We're just playing 4 verticals.
Yep, 4 verts
all the time.
The Hail
Kiki
Mary at
QT
the
in
end
the
of the
flat.
game.
Yep.
Kiki QT in the doghouse that's built custom for him on the sideline.
Exactly.
All you see is his eyes looking out like, guys, can I come out and play? I just want to play a snap of football. Trade me, please. Yeah, one day. So that covers kind of Brandin Cooks. I want to get into a very interesting low-key signing this week. Late in free agency, the Kansas City Chiefs signed a running back. Now, I know everyone's been drooling over themselves like, what running back goes to Kansas City? That makes them the 101 based on the offense. You're probably right. But the Chiefs signed DeAndre Washington to a 1-year deal this week. So I want to go to John on this one. Does that get the needle moving for you at all?
Man. So first off, going back to the draft and everyone saying whatever top tier running back gets drafted by Kansas City is immediately going to be the 1.01 in rookie startups. They're not taking a running back early. They're just not. They don't care that much about the position.
They have no cap room and they have needs elsewhere.
Right, exactly. They are completely content having Patrick Mahomes run the show in that explosive passing offense and getting running back from production from whoever they have on the roster. So they might end up taking a running back in this draft later, like potentially to fill out some depth needs and things like that. It's not going to be one of the big 5. Like it's not going to be DeAndre Swift going to Kansas City. If that happens, I will be shocked. And yes, then he would be probably the 1.01, like in consensus ranking.
Can you say that again?
Yeah, probably not in mine. In the consensus rankings, if he went to Kansas City, it'd probably be the 1.01, but not in mine. But I don't see it happening. I don't see them spending high capital on a running back. They're fine with Damian Williams getting some production, bringing in DeAndre Washington, who's a great pass catching option. I mean, I don't know. I'd be slightly intrigued in rostering him as a deep flyer. Maybe he carves out a nice role, but Mahomes hasn't targeted the running back position a lot in his career. He's like, I've got Tyreek Hill running 45 yards down the field, 10 steps behind the closest defender. I think I'll throw that. So he's not in a system that is going to check the ball down to a running back a lot. Mahomes doesn't do that. So I don't know that he doesn't need to. He's got so many of the fastest weapons in the NFL, and then a certain elite tight end named Travis Kelce, if he wants to throw a jump ball to, he doesn't need to check it down to a running back. So I don't know. I'd be fine with rostering him deep. I almost think that his role in Kansas City is probably going to be less than it would have been in now Las Vegas, because they don't have the other weapons. They do need to get the ball to their running back in space to try to create things. So I don't think that this makes me go, oh boy, I need to go out and buy me some DeAndre Washington. So I'd be fine with rostering him deep, but that's about it.
So I want to give you, I read an article. It's from Mike Clay, friend of the show. He's been on the Happy Hour before. He wrote an article 2 weeks ago, 50 things I learned while doing 2020 fantasy football projections. And right smack dab in the middle was number 25. And this is probably the one excerpt from this that really stood out to me. And I'm going to read it verbatim because I think it's that impactful. And I think that people, when they talk about Kansas City running backs, don't realize this. So running back Damian Williams has played at least 49% of the snaps in 16 games since joining the Chiefs in 2018. He's handled 64% of the designated runs, which is 13.3 per game, and 15% of the targets, which is 5.3 per game, during those weeks, which includes 5 playoff games. His stats those weeks are as follows: 213 carries for 1,020 yards, 14 touchdowns.
That's 65 5 yards a carry.
65 catches for 514 yards on 7 touchdowns on 85 targets. His numbers add up to 340.4 fantasy points, which would have ranked second to only Christian McCaffrey last season.
Ooh.
Is that good?
Last time I checked, RB2, like, yeah, it's not a bad finish.
So here's the thing that I'll say, and it was the first thing that came to my mind when you brought up DeAndre Washington to the Chiefs is I'm a Damian Williams truther. So when you're reading those numbers as potentially a pitch for Washington in Kansas City, what I say is, or maybe Damian Williams is actually quite good. And I think it's a little bit of both, but I am a Damian Williams truther. I think he is explosive and talented and good when he gets the ball in his hands in space. I think that they're now both on contract through 2020, so maybe they'll have to pick one after that, or we'll see what happens. Maybe they do draft someone deeper. But I think there's a good chance that Damian Williams continues to be the guy. DeAndre Washington does kind of what he's done in Oakland/Vegas. Well, he actually never played for Vegas, and be a complimentary guy who gets some catches and maybe some goal line carries. But for the most part, Damian Williams is the fantasy guy I want to own.
Yeah, Williams has been a guy that I've been on. You know, I'm a Pats fan, so watching a lot of Patriots football. He popped for me when he was with Miami, and he would always do good things against the Pats. And he's the kind of player that I was like, oh, I like this kid. Like, he flashed, but he was never the starter. You know, they had Lamar Miller and whoever else there. So I've always been kind of on Damian Williams. So I have him in a bunch of dynasty spots. I think he's a pretty solid buy for me right now in dynasty because I think his price is pretty damn reasonable. And if he has the season where he's healthy in that offense and he's the guy, like, lights out, like, Damian Williams is going to be an RB1 in that offense given the opportunity. Tyler, any other thoughts on the Chiefs backfield here? Don't talk to me about Darwin Thompson. I'll come to Minnesota. And
That's exactly what I'm going to say.
No.
Why are we forgetting about Darwin Thompson? He was a 5th-round darling. Wasn't he like a 2nd-round pick in a lot of rookie drafts too? Not
the hype was out of control.
It was out of control, and he showed well when he was on the field. So let's just not forget about him. I'm just saying, if we're thinking
Darrell Williams, he was the one scoring touchdowns.
Yeah,
Too many D running backs. There's 4 now. Are you kidding me?
Wow, 4 Ds.
That's nuts.
Wow.
DeAndre Swift has to go there now.
So John, when we were talking about Zach Moss going to the Chiefs, they already have him and Darrell Williams. Like, that's Zach Moss. That's the talent Zach Moss is to me.
That's fair. I mean, I don't mind Darrell Williams, but not as a starter. So,
I'm just saying that, like, if you're going to compare Zach Moss to a running back on the Chiefs,
I don't like Zach Moss at all.
Me neither.
I think that's what he's saying.
I'm gonna save my diatribe for later on Zach Moss when one of you fools takes him way too high in our rookie mock that we're about to do.
So I'm just gonna give you a hint. He did not go in our last mock draft we had.
He didn't go.
We did.
He didn't go in the top 2 rounds.
Woo-hoo-hoo.
Not a lot of people in our
might not go in this one
like
for 3 rounds.
He might not go in this one. We will see, but dang,
yes,
that's spicy.
We're going to move on to our mock, but first, a word from our sponsor. Do you think you're smarter than an NFL GM? I think the 5 of us could probably take care of the Houston Texans pretty sound.
Smarter than Bill O'Brien. Smarter than Bill O'Brien.
Do you think you're the best at fantasy football? Yeah, I think we're all pretty good. Now you got a chance to prove it. It's called Dynasty Owner, and it's the only patented fantasy sports game using actual NFL salaries and contracts. You manage your team from all levels, owner to general manager to coach. Dynasty Owner is for the smart/elite fantasy football player like yourselves because you're listening to this podcast. You're welcome. There is no off-season in Dynasty Owner. The rookie draft matters. Free agency matters. Every single contract matters. Even that Matthew Slater special teams contract matters. So come do a startup draft in 2020 using actual NFL players' contracts and salaries. Then improve your team each year with a 3-round rookie draft and by trading players and draft picks. Wow, 3-round rookie draft. That sounds familiar. You can win weekly prizes, seasonal prizes. You can compete in the chase for the ring. Mobile apps are in development. They'll be ready to download on iOS and Android in time for the rookie draft starting next month. Mock drafts are open now on desktop and mobile browsers. To learn more and mock draft for absolutely zero, which means free, go to www.dynastyowner.com. So let's get into a 3-round draft here.
Before we do that, that has my attention. That sounds like something that could be a lot of fun.
I'll tell you what has my attention is the Matthew Slater shout out. Hugely underrated.
What
NFL
up,
player.
Slater?
Hall of Famer. Let's go. Him and
Yeah,
his
let's
dad,
go.
Hall of Fame together. It's going to be
love
a
it.
beautiful thing. He's such a nerd. I've met Matthew Slater a couple times, and when
Name
you meet
drop.
him, he's got like circular glasses, and he talks like an absolute dork.
Yes.
He's kind of low key adorable because you wouldn't think of an NFL player being like, "Hey guys, what's going on?" That's Matthew
Get a
Slater,
room,
and he's
guy.
the nicest individual.
I
So,
love it.
Love
I
him.
love it.
Matthew Slater, shout out, Hall of Fame. Let's go. Get him a jacket. Anyway, so let's get into this draft here. So we're doing Superflex rankings, like I said. I'm just going to give you a quick draft order here for the first round, and then we're doing a little snake action. So it's not the typical 1 to 12, 1 to 10, and 1 to 10. So it's going to be a little bit different. So let me just break down the first round for you. I have the first pick at the 101. We have Betts at the 102, Okada at the 103. Tyler's going to have the 104. John gets back-to-back picks at the 5 and 6. Then we go back to Tyler, back to Okada, back to Betts, and then back to me at the end of the round. And then we're going to do the same thing more or less 3 times. So it's a little bit different than some of the mocks that you're hearing out there where it's, the standard. We're doing a snake tonight to be a little bit different. I got a snake, man. And we are going to talk QBs predominantly here. We're going to stop and pause and talk QBs as we go. So I have the pleasure of kicking us off at the 101. I know it's a super flex league. I think everyone's like, oh, you got to take Burrow 101. I don't even know. I don't know what to do. But you know what? I'm going to take Joe Burrow 101. People are shaking their heads. They're like, but he's only got 1 year of production and he was surrounded by great players. He couldn't even win the starting job over Dwayne Haskins. There's so much doubt. You know what? Historical. He beat out Ty Detmer and he was a great pro. I'm kidding. He was Ty Detmer, BYU. Shout out. Let me just write down Joe Burrow. So, John, you noticeably shook your head and you were like, sir, you're a dumbass. So talk to me about Joe Burrow because you're throwing some shade my way, non-verbally, which I love.
Here's the only thing that I'll say on this is that my unyielding and undying love for Jonathan Taylor knows no bounds. And that's why I think that Joe Burrow is a very strong prospect. If you are a quarterback needy team drafting first overall in Superflex, I think that Joe Burrow is a fantastic pick. If you already have 2 or 3 quarterbacks that you trust and rely on, I have absolutely no problem with going Jonathan Taylor with the first overall pick. I think Jonathan Taylor is the best running back that's come in since Saquon. He's a top 3 running back prospect in probably the last 7 to 8 years. I think that he's a potential elite talent. So I love me some Jonathan Taylor. Obviously, landing spot does matter, but I think that Jonathan Taylor is a home run prospect. I do think that Joe Burrow is very, very good. Quarterbacks are always a little bit dodgy because I'm concerned that if he sees a division that has potentially elite secondaries or elite pass rush,
I mean, his division. Let's be honest.
I'm not gonna go there. But no, we don't. But if he faces a division that has elite pass rush, aka the AFC North, or elite secondaries, aka the AFC East, then I'm concerned about him getting rattled early. So I have a little bit of pause on the development. Like, you can't expect a rookie quarterback to come in and immediately be a top 12 fantasy quarterback. There is a learning curve that needs to take place, and the weapons around him do matter. So I am fine with Burrow at the 1.01 if you need a second quarterback. If you already have 2 or 3, I would personally lean Jonathan Taylor.
Tyler, what's your view on that? Are you a Burrow guy? I'm going to you because you've got the Cincinnati Bengal orange hair. It's like a natural transition.
I wasn't actually sure if it was Tyler or Andy Dalton, so it's good.
Andy Dalton's hair is like, and Andy Dalton's hair is fire red. I mean, that is that he's like the king of redheads. But no, I'm actually going to be with John, but I think if you don't have 3 quarterbacks, you should take a quarterback. If you have 3 stable quarterbacks, I think you're fine. And super flex leagues, especially in the industry leagues, Doug, you can
cost you an arm and a leg.
Yeah, I mean, Joe Flacco costs a late first round pick at times when Joe Flacco was a starting quarterback. It's ugly.
And the fact is, if you hit on Joe Burrow, then look at Kyler Murray last year. Not comparing the two players, but from a value standpoint, like Kyler Murray is the third quarterback in dynasty startups now.
Yep. And to reverse that, you can see running backs before Kyler Murray. So if Taylor hits, I mean, Taylor has to land and get the passing production to be in the top 5 dynasty running backs. That has to happen. He has to get 40.
John, you cracked a beer and you wanted to chime in.
Even
so cut
Fournette,
Tyler off because he doesn't.
No, even Fournette needs passing production. He's falling into the 3rd round of dynasty startups behind Kyler. And Fournette has the same profile as Jonathan Taylor.
John?
Yes.
You said you
raised your hand.
You were raising your hand.
I'm sorry. I just got some insider information that I'm going to sit on and make all y'all sweat.
Oh my gosh.
I love it so much. It's so great having people.
My toilet paper roll is now empty and I'm out of toilet paper.
So here's what I'll say. Here's what I'll say about Kyler, because I completely agree with you. Kyler has rocketed up rankings. He's very high. He's consensus number 3 for us at Red Shirts. I just sold Patrick Mahomes for Kyler Murray and DK Metcalf because I needed depth at skill position. So I think that the potential for Kyler Murray, the points per game that he's going to give you, I don't see it being that far behind what you're going to get out of Mahomes. Mahomes is an elite talent and I love him and I hated selling him, but I had a roster that was like 4 studs and then absolute garbage after it. And if I could flip Mahomes into Murray in that spread offense that they just got DeAndre Hopkins and watching him continue to develop and continue to accentuate his running game that is very underrated. He's our dynasty quarterback 3. So that was a trade that I was more than happy to make.
Cool. So let's move on from the Burrow talk. I think that there's there's definitely some concerns there when you look at the history of college quarterbacks that had 1 year of production, and there's not a great hit rate there.
Running backs.
Right. So let's move it on to bets. He's got the 102. The pick is in. I just heard the chime. Goodell's in his basement. He's ready to announce it.
Do you think he's going to wear
black cuts off?
Let's have a. Do you guys think he's actually going to wear like suit pants or any pants?
Yeah, he's suiting up.
Yes.
Oh yeah,
yes.
he will.
He's suiting up.
Podium probably.
He's too much of a narcissist not to.
That's a good
He's
move.
definitely wearing.
He's probably got like
his best.
spotlights, like a track light in his basement that's going to be like shining down on him. Like it's going to be full blown.
Now, there should be bets on what kind of desk he has. Like, is it like a mahogany style desk? Like,
it's mahogany.
Oh yeah,
many leather-bound books.
Like a white snow leopard.
Pro reference, Doug.
Yes,
snow leopard in the back that he rented from.
He got it in a van down in Florida.
Yeah, Carol Baskins.
Oh god.
Let Matt make his damn pick. Bets. Who you got at 102?
Fellas, this could not have worked out any better for the discussion we're about to just have on this podcast right now.
Gosh darn it!
This is what I'm here for. I want to hear
Tua
this.
Tagovailoa comes in at the 102 in this mock draft.
Wow.
And let's go with this first off. Superflex, you guys just hit on it. Like, they never get cheaper than in a rookie draft. So I'm going to take Tua here at 1.02. And if he had not injured the hip, he would be the consensus 1.01 for every analyst out there. So that's what we really have to talk about is that hip and what is the long-term and short-term prognosis. His injury is not normal for football. So there's no data to tell us, with ACLs, like these guys are usually back to full strength at about 12 months. We don't have that. His injury was essentially as bad as what happens in a car accident. A fracture inside of the hip joint with the hip dislocating out of the socket can cause loss of blood supply to the joint. It can cause immediate long-term concerns, and you basically have to have a hip replacement right away if that happens. So he had a freak accident that really did require immediate care to get it back into place, which they did a great job at Alabama of doing. All that to say, now he's 6 months out from surgery, and he's looking awesome on the football field. Now, again, it's short clips. We can't see really what's going on. There's no defense. Like it's very, very vanilla, but he's looking good. And honestly, guys, the risk of redislocation is really, really, really low. Like, I would be shocked if it happened again. So if you can tell me that Tua has 8 to 10 years of really good football in that hip at 1.02, like, yeah, I'll take it. I mean, we play like for what, 2 years, maybe 3 years at most down the line. And the NFL is different than Dynasty, obviously, but these quarterbacks, like, they don't stick around for, 25 years like Tom Brady. Like, it just doesn't happen. So, long term, there's probably going to be some arthritis in that hip. He's not going to play till he's 40, but if he plays till he's like 34, 35, and he's a top tier talent, your Dynasty roster is going to be very happy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll be stacked for a long time. Absolutely.
That's good news. Not Doug. Doug. That makes me comfortable that we can take him in Trade Addicts League.
Yeah, we got the 1, 2, and the 3, baby. So
there you go.
Yeah.
Wow.
And we're quarterback
rebuild.
needy. So it's
That's gonna be
Burrow,
fun.
Tua, and probably whatever running back we.
And then what we have
flip a coin on.
109. No, 110, 111, and 112.
Wow.
And then we have 3 first rounders next year.
Wow, juice.
Do you have a single player on your current roster?
We do.
got
We have
Josh
Josh Jacobs, Sam
Okay.
Covering, Hawkinson.
All right.
Got some good young receivers too.
Yeah.
That's solid.
We did trade Gallup though, but that's all right.
Ooh.
Oh, no.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's fine. We got a 2021 first for him. That's fine.
Well, that's good. That's
Sold.
good.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so we're gonna move on to the 103. We've got Burrow. Any other thoughts on Tua? I think Matt pretty much nailed the nail on the head there.
There's not a player that you want to love and root for more than Tua. Like, I hope that he's healthy. I hope he gets to a good spot. Can maybe sit for a year and take things over, get completely healthy and ready to go, and then flourish. I love him as a young guy, as a talent. I just hope the best for Tua.
Yeah, and
All
he's my quarterback 1. He's my 101 in the Superflex rookie pick. So I love the pick at 102, and I am really excited for his career.
Yeah.
All right, so now make your 103, Matt.
I want to talk about his landing
something to
spots.
say. Ooh.
His Tua's landing spots are very juicy too. Miami looks like they're heading the right direction, and if the Chargers get him, the weapons they have,
Yes, that would be
nuts.
incredible. They
Can
need
I-
to do that for the sake of
Can
their
I please-
organization, for the sake of Tua.
Can I talk a
gotta-
hypothetical?
So let's hold on 1 second.
Go ahead.
So the Chargers do have weapons, yes. But what if Miami, so they've got Parker, Preston Williams, they've got Gesicki. What if they draft DeAndre Swift? I low-key like Miami's weapons potentially more than I like the Chargers.
I'd say they're about
I would
equal.
still take the Chargers.
Oh,
Chargers.
yeah.
I take the
Hunter
Chargers.
Henry over Gesicki.
See, Mike
I mean,
Williams
Mike
doesn't
Williams.
move the needle for me.
Miami's weapons are younger for sure. So, like, if Preston Williams develops and is a reliable wide receiver
Parker's
too,
like
Parker
34 years old.
he's not
It feels like
that
it. It
old.
feels
He's
like
just been
it.
in the league for a while. Yes, it does feel like it.
Yeah.
They're but
Hashtag
overall,
6-year breakout. Yeah.
They're younger than Keenan plus Mike Williams, so that is helpful. But I think Keenan Allen, Mike Williams,
Keenan Allen is way
Austin
better than people give
Eckler.
credit for.
You're not going to
Eckler,
get
yeah.
much better, production from a running back in the passing game.
And when they
besides
draft
Christian
Jonathan
McCaffrey.
Taylor in the second round,
Oh,
Mhm.
No.
speaking of which,
Yes,
On to the
finally.
103.
he is my pick at the 103. Jonathan Taylor is my running back 1 in this class, in a
Love you.
tier with DeAndre Swift. So I don't hate
Yeah.
people who want to put Swift above him, but
Right.
those two are in a tier of their own for sure. And I'm not quite as high on Taylor as John was. You heard his speech, and you'll probably get at
Soliloquy.
least one monologue, soliloquy on Jonathan Taylor from John on any podcast.
Every
he goes
single time. Every time. It is.
But I
Hashtag
do
good.
love him. I think he is a locked and loaded RB1 if he goes to a decent landing spot. And I think that there are plenty of decent landing spots, and that chances are he will go to one of them. So obviously that will kind of sway where he ends up in startups, and what kind of price you might have to pay to get the 103 in the Superflex if you wanted to get him and you knew the quarterbacks were going first. But in any case, I'm trying to get him on my rosters, and I love him as a prospect, and I really hope he goes to a good spot. Jonathan Taylor, 103.
Jonathan
All right,
Taylor,
Tyler.
Seattle at 27.
Isn't that where they took Rashad Penny? That same
Yeah,
pretty
draft
much.
pick, 27.
Okay, but Rashad Penny was a trash prospect. They should never have done that.
Let's
I
hope.
know.
Let's hope that
They
draft
passed
position
on
isn't
Chubb.
tarnished. Yeah, well, so did the Patriots, but whatever.
Sure.
So let's go to Tyler here at the 104. He finally gets a chance to speak. Tyler, the 104, and it's all yours.
DeAndre Swift. And it's just, he's the best all around back. He's the Alvin Kamara of this draft. It doesn't matter what spot he lands in. He's going to be somebody who's going to be utilized as a weapon for any team he's on. He can catch the ball so smoothly out of the backfield. He's great in space. The burst is insane. I mean, from when he hit Georgia, he was very close to Chubb and Michelle as the best running back in Georgia. So I've loved Swift since he came in as a freshman. He's been my 101A next to another guy who's in this class. And yeah, I think Swift is going to be a very safe pick with the pass catching ability.
Very nice. So, John, we've got you back-to-back picks. You get the honor of being the first back-to-back. You get the 105 and the 106. Hit me.
I am running to the podium to take CeeDee Lamb at 1.05.
Yep.
Running to the podium if this happens to take CeeDee Lamb at 1.05. Speed. I don't care. I do not care.
He looks faster on video.
He looks great on tape. His short area burst is amazing. His yards after catch is
disgusting
stuff. I mean, just the Texas, you know the play I'm talking about. Him against Texas.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
5 defenders in a phone booth. And you should never get out of that. Never.
You should never tackle the way they tried to tackle somebody.
That's also true. It was pretty bad.
It's accurate. It's true. But his ability after the catch is absolutely insane. His ability to contort in the air and adjust to the ball is like DeAndre Hopkins-esque.
Otherworldly.
I mean, it is DeAndre Hopkins-esque, his ability to manipulate his body in the air. He is a stud in the making. He has the highest ceiling of any wide receiver in this draft class, bar none. Like, Jerry Jeudy's very solid and a good technician and a good route runner, but I think that the ceiling of CeeDee Lamb is much higher. Like, this is a guy, it doesn't happen very often that you look at a rookie wide receiver prospect and say, this guy could end up as being one of the 5 best wide receivers in the league in a few years. CeeDee Lamb has that kind of upside to be a DeAndre Hopkins caliber wide receiver. So I would cry happy tears to get CeeDee Lamb in any rookie draft. I love him. And I am more than happy to take him at the 1.05. I would probably take him with the 1.0. I would take him with the 1.04. If running backs went early, I don't know. I'm not going to say that, but I would be happy with him at the 1.04. He's great.
He deserves to be in consideration in a single quarterback league. He deserves to be in the consideration at 1.01. He's that good. I mean, if you're a drafter that you like to take immediate production in the running back, great, do it. But I won't fault anyone for taking him at 1.01. I think he's that good.
In single quarterback, absolutely.
If he lands in that's a money spot. But
sure. Yeah. All right, John. So you got another pick right afterwards. You're 105.
I do.
Now you got 106. Let's go.
And that's juicy to me. 1.06, superflex. Joe Burrow, Tua Tagovailoa, Jonathan Taylor, DeAndre Swift, CeeDee Lamb.
He stumped himself.
It's really tough. He really
stole CeeDee Lamb from himself.
Yeah, stole CeeDee Lamb from myself. It's really challenging, actually, right here. But I think that I would go. It's landing spot dependent, but I love me some Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and I'm going to take him.
I knew you were going to do it.
I'm going to go 1.06 Clyde Edwards-Helaire. He is an elite pass catching option. I think there's a very real possibility that he ends up in Tampa Bay with Tom Brady, which would be an insane pairing. He is stronger than people give him credit for. He's not as small as people think he is. Like, he came in measuring pretty close to everyone else in this class. Like, an inch shorter and 5 pounds lighter doesn't do a whole lot for me. Like, that's not noticeable. It's not like the guy's 5'8", 185 pounds. Like, he has enough size and the build and the strength and the leg churn to get it done. His pass catching ability, his ability to literally line up as a receiver and bake someone is incredible. You get him in the slot on a route that pairs him with a linebacker, it's a mismatch and a half. Like, I love his ability against linebackers. You get the ball to him in space, swing routes, bubble screens, all this stuff. He's fantastic. His production there supports it. I think that he is I think that he's Austin Eckler with a better running pedigree than Austin Eckler.
Okay. So let's move on to Tyler. I already have this name written down. I know who it's going to be. So Tyler, why don't you announce the 107 to the world here?
Justin Herbert.
Oh,
That's not who I was expecting.
Not who I had written down.
It's quarterbacks. I mean, if you have a chance to get a top 10 first round quarterback, and I mean the players left over are nice. I mean, you got the wide receivers. There's a couple of them, and there's a running back that I bet you had me down for.
I did.
You can put him down on my next pick if you want.
Yeah, go ahead.
Fair enough. There you go.
But the thing is quarterbacks. If Akers doesn't hit, I mean, the first year his value is going to diminish, and I'm a value drafter at this point. And if I'm looking at this as like, okay, Herbert's not going to lose value throughout the years. He's going to hold steady. I mean, Blake Bortles was getting first round draft picks after his good year, and even when he started being bad, he was still somebody who was valued highly in superflex.
How much is Josh Rosen worth again?
That's a different story. I mean, how often has he? You're comparing Blake Bortles to Josh Rosen.
I'm giving you a hard time.
The fact that you guys are listing both of them with Justin Herbert's makes me cry.
I'm talking about value. I actually think Herbert's a good player.
I'm not comparing the two. I'm just saying. Yeah.
The issue with Herbert is, people were worried about his ability to like, I don't know how you'd say it, be a leader. There it is. That's the word I was looking for. A leader.
Leader of cola.
And he's got that Eli Manning style of leadership, the quiet, keep
look like a doofus on the sideline.
Herbert's hair, though, his hair game is on point. If you
that flow, though,
that counts for something.
He's got what was that backup quarterback? He was
Josh McCown.
No, he was forever a journeyman. Charlie Whitehurst with the flowing locks.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, the long ones. Yeah.
Herbert has probably some of the best arm talent out of the quarterbacks in this draft class. He's probably got the strongest arm. I think if he can clean up some of the footwork. And he's got the athletic ability to move out. I consider him a poor man's Josh Allen. And people would say the comp to Josh Allen. As a fantasy quarterback, John, I know you're shaking your head over there. As a fantasy quarterback, would you want Josh Allen on your team? I think all of us could say yes.
Yeah.
No, I'm saying that I think Justin Herbert has a higher ceiling than Josh Allen.
I agree. I think
that's
he could
what
be
I'm
more
saying.
accurate. Yeah.
Yep, he is. He's a better thrower than Josh Allen.
And if he lands on the Chargers, that's going to be
love
it. Yeah.
Love it.
Going to be awesome because I think that actually boosts Mike Williams' game up because Mike Williams and Herbert together.
Big time.
Give me. Love that.
Nice.
So Herbert at 106.
7. So we're going to go to Okada for the 108. I already wrote it down because he told me to. So
it's Cam Akers.
There we go.
Cam Akers is my running back 3, so I'm getting him as the running back 4 in our rookie mock and getting him all the way down here at 8. That is very nice to me. I would have been happy to get him in the 5-6 range if I had those picks. I even thought John might do it. So, yeah, I mean, I love Cam Akers' all-around game. I think he has extremely high upside if he goes to the right place. He's another guy who I'd love to see in Tampa Bay. Someone's going there. I would love to see him there. The Rams could be interesting. The Rams are a landing spot I'm kind of rising on. If he were to go there, I think he'd be an interesting fit. But he almost might be landing spot dependent for me. I really like his talent. So Cam Akers, what do I got now?
108.
What did I pick first?
108.
Thank you.
Yes.
And you picked Jonathan Taylor first. So.
Oh, wow. I got all best running back. That's cool.
And let's be honest. I think Akers is not going to slide past the third round. I think he's locked from in the second or third round.
He just feels like a Steeler to me, and I don't know why.
No,
my brain keeps telling me that Cam Akers is going to be a Steeler.
I would take him over Herbert. I mean,
he really feels like a round 2 Seahawk to me. Like if that happened,
you can't take them all, John.
No, I'm not saying that.
Like DeAndre Swift, Cam Akers.
I'm not saying that, but I'm not saying
that. Pete Carroll chewing his gum. I know what I'm doing.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, let's go back to bets with the 109.
All right, boys. I love you all. You're smart analysts, but how the hell is Jerry Jeudy on the board at 109? I mean, do I even need to explain this pick?
I blame Tyler.
Extreme value for Jerry Jeudy, probably the best route runner in this class. Tons of production.
The past 5 years.
Yeah, give me Jerry Jeudy.
Honestly, Bets, the answer to your question is why this rookie class is so good and why 2021 is so good. Because this is not an insane landing spot for Jerry Jeudy based on who's gone ahead of him. Like, it's an insane landing spot for Jerry Jeudy, but also all the picks we've made kind of make sense. Yeah. So that just tells you how good this class is.
But he's still not the receiver with the highest ceiling.
No. No.
And then I'm not even saying he's CD Lamb.
Oh, you got another guy.
Yeah.
All right. Well, hold on.
The highest ceiling.
Interesting.
Lowest floor.
Okay.
Highest ceiling.
Okay.
All right, so I'm going to give you my 110. Pretty easy pick here. It's the last of the elite tier of running back prospects, and it's J.K. Dobbins. I think it's a pretty easy selection at the 110. Pretty happy to get him there. I do have some concerns from a prospect, but the value at 110 is definitely there. And like I said, if I'm not drafting him at a running back, I'm really not getting. There's a big gap out of these top 5 guys until you hit the 6th guy, in my opinion. So I want the guy on the. I want the guy on the very end of that. So I got back-to-back picks. So now I got the 201, and I'm going to take a quarterback here, and I'm going to say, YOLO. I'm taking Jalen Hurts, baby. Let's go.
Oh.
I'm taking Jalen Hurts.
He's not my third quarterback. So
when you talk about quarterbacks with ceiling, like if this guy, everyone loves Lamar Jackson, right? And I'm not saying Jalen Hurts is the same athlete. He's a better passer than Lamar. Yeah. He's got really good feet. He's got the Konami code blood. He's a winner. I know he played with a lot of talent around him, but this kid, I was impressed with his combine. He's a leader. I think Jalen Hurts, in the NFL draft, he might not go until round 2, maybe round 3. Again, he might be behind someone for a year, but to me, like, he's a guy that's going to take over. And when he does, I think he's going to have a ton of fantasy value. So I'm going to take Jalen Hurts here because I don't pick again until the end of the round. So you know what? Like, I need a quarterback, so I'm going to take Jalen Hurts, and I'm not going to be upset about it. Does anyone disagree?
No, I have to jump in here because I think our whole podcast likes Jalen Hurts relatively high, but I've been kind of the bell ringer for Hurts now. And you said you were a Patriots fan, right, Doug?
Yes, I'd love to take him at 23.
I want him to go to the Patriots at 23 so bad.
I would. I am still salty. They drafted Sony freaking Michel. Over Lamar Jackson.
Yep. I mean, everybody is.
I was at a Buffalo Wild Wings in Western New York, screaming at the television, "Take Lamar Jackson!" Sony Michel.
Is there anything more annoying than Patriots fans complaining about the
nothing more
annoying. Our quarterback is gone. This is one thing we can complain about.
I've been ready to move on.
Remember
from
that year
Brady
we won
for
the
like 2 or 3 years
and we didn't
now.
draft this guy?
So getting away from the Patriots, though. Yes. I will say, I absolutely love Jalen Hurts. I agree with every point that you made. I did a YouTube breakdown, the Red Shirts YouTube account. If you go check it out, we're breaking down rookies' little profiles on YouTube, about 10 minutes long. And I went through almost everything that you just said. I love his leadership. I love his charisma and his off-the-field ability to kind of be a star and lead a team. He's intelligent. He knows how to learn a playbook. But he's also so dynamic. And right now, I feel like that's what you want at the quarterback position. That's the way the NFL is going. That's the way the fantasy is going.
Taysom Hill, yeah.
Oh, I love Taysom Hill. I'm also a Taysom Hill truther. Not necessarily in fantasy.
Me. You just lost me.
Yeah, not in fantasy.
I was following you this whole time.
But I think he should be a first-round pick in the NFL, and if he goes to the right place, he could be a first-round pick in a lot of my rookie superflex mocks. So I
almost took him at the 110 just because. I mean, I had back-to-back picks, but I didn't want to get too cute. I knew I was taking him.
So before we move on,
go ahead. Yeah.
You were talking about the NFL draft capital. His line in terms of sports wagering opened up at like pick 73.5 or something like that.
There's no way that happens.
Well, it would be the under, right? Because it was going 1 to 70, but basically, it dropped to 62 in the last 2 days. So
that means
he's getting top 2 round draft capital in the NFL. There's a chance he goes in round 1. So yeah, it's definitely moving that way.
I love it. So we're back to you,
Seattle, right? Right, John? I mean,
Seattle, yes.
Seattle.
He can learn from Russell Wilson, Kidding. So let's go back to Betts. He's got the 202.
Yeah, it's kind of a toss-up here. I like 2 receivers a lot. I'm going to go with the guy that I think has the higher upside of the two. Henry Ruggs coming off the board here.
There it is.
This
the
pick.
highest ceiling.
Speed, and more speed. And there's a chance he's taken as the first wide receiver in this draft. So if a team is willing to invest that kind of capital in him in the top 13, 14 picks, I'll take a risk here in the second round of a rookie draft. John, why are you shaking your head? That's
he is not Will Fuller.
There are
people are thinking he's a speed guy.
Are 5 wide receivers on the board that I still want before I want Ruggs.
If you say Daniel Mims, if you say Mims, I swear I'm going to drive to Seattle.
But listen, with Henry,
you can drive to Seattle. I'm not in Seattle, so go ahead.
Portland.
I'm not in Portland anymore either. Go ahead.
Where is John?
All over the place.
I'm in Arizona.
Where in the world is John?
I'm in Arizona.
But with Henry Ruggs at the second round, though, like that's completely fair. Even if you're not a Ruggs fan, and I'm not even the biggest huge truther, but like you have to say his upside is massive. So at that draft capital, I'm taking a shot.
The issue people
I don't mind that there at all.
The issue people have with him is he ran a fast 40. He's Will Fuller. He's just a straight line speed guy. No, a lot of his big plays in college were slants and him doing the rest. I mean, he is dynamic, and I like I said, I'd probably have Judy and Lamb ahead of him. But if you're looking for complete upside and you got him in the second round, that's a slam dunk.
All right, let's keep it moving. We're gonna go to the 203. Back to Mr. Okada.
Well, I was really hoping to get Jalen Hurts here, and then you broke my heart. So now I'm all in a tizzy. But I'll take the wide receiver that I think was the other of the two Betts was mentioning, and that's Justin Jefferson. I think he's going to be an immediate producer. I think he's going to be a high catch PPR guy, just like he was in his last year. Was 114, 115 catches in his last season? 113.
Oh, no,
it was a number between 110 and 115, and it was disgustingly high.
A lot.
Obviously, part of an extremely productive offense. I've seen a lot of mocks that have him going to the Eagles. I would love that. Yeah. I've seen some mocks that have him going to the Vikings as kind of a Diggs replacement. I would also love that. So I think there's a
Packers
honestly, too. Packers would be amazing. I think he's one of the more.
Stop.
This is complete sarcasm.
They have Jake Kumro still.
I know,
on, guys.
I know.
I kind of like Jake Kumro. He's got a nice beard.
Stop it.
Not really. But yeah, almost wherever Justin Jefferson goes, I think he's a pretty quick contributor. So PPR league, I'm very, very happy to get him here. It's good value.
Very safe. All right. Probably the safest receiver in the draft next to Judy.
Thank you, Tyler. So now you can keep talking because you're on the board again at the 204.
Oh, God. That was my pick. You guys took my two picks.
You got sniped.
I got two places I could go. I could just stay on this quarterback train and just keep riding it for a while. Ooh. And I think I'm going to because the other guy is a very high upside. I'm going to take Jordan Love.
Yeah.
And my hopes is somebody gets Jordan Love and Jalen Hurts, and they can name their team name Love Hurts.
Love Hurts.
Yeah.
I need it to happen.
Wow, that's nice. That's nice.
I think Jordan Love has a Mahomes-like ceiling, not Mahomes, but like. And if he falls, I mean, it's going to be a long fall, and this is going to be a complete wasted pick. But in the early-ish second round at quarterback in the superflex, and a quarterback who's probably going to go late first, early second round, I mean, I'll take that bet.
All right. So let's we got John double up. 205, 206. Let me know what you think. It sounds like wide receiver you're confident in still here.
I have two wide receivers I'm smashing right here, and it's Jalen Reagor first. The fact that he's available in the mid-second to me is blasphemy. Jalen Reagor has a ridiculous athletic profile, and I know that everything's buzzing on Twitter because he did his virtual pro day and they clocked him at
4.2 and change.
4.22 or whatever it was. Now listen, I'm not saying that I trust. I don't.
That guy was old. That guy with the stopwatch was old. That's all I'm saying.
Well, they had two.
They ate a lot of pancakes that morning or something.
they had two stopwatches. But here's the thing: he looked blazing fast in college. He came into the NFL Combine weighing about 10 pounds heavier than what he played at, and that slowed him down in the way that he looked. He weighed back in at about his playing weight for doing the pro day. He went to the combine and went, well, that didn't work. I'm going to trim it down. And when back down, exactly. When back down to his healthy playing weight, and I don't care what the number looked like. I don't care if it's a 4.22 or a 4.34, whatever.
Still fast.
Really fast, and he looked it. That's the thing. He looked blazing fast in that tape that they showed. So I think that his athleticism, his jumping ability, his ability to contort in the air and catch, just like I was talking about with CeeDee Lamb in the first round, I think that Jalen Reagor is a really high upside wide receiver that I'm more than happy to take here. Played on a historically bad offense at TCU. Can't hold the production against him. I just don't. Everything else adds up, and I love him.
All right, give me your 206.
My 206. You're gonna hate me, Tyler, but I am going Denzel Mims.
I don't, because my guy slid. Thank you.
Okay, well, congratulations. I'm happy for you. But I am on the Mims train. I love his ability to adjust and win contested catches. I think that Mims is a player that has a very high ceiling in this draft as well. Here's the thing about this 2020 rookie class as a whole. There's so much upside in this class. All these players we're talking about in the second, even when we get into the third, are players that have potentially really high ceilings. I feel like this class is so loaded that I love all of these draft picks. I mean, everyone has mentioned, I'm like, yeah, I can see it. Yep, I believe it. Yep, I'm all in. Like, you can't, well, you can miss. Not everyone's going to hit, but this class is so good. I love these picks in the second. I hope that you loaded up on draft picks months ago and take
I was
five to six draft throws
months ago to go trade. Forget the 2020 first, because those are the high priced ones. Go get yourself 2020 seconds, because you're going to get great players in this round. So if you load it up on seconds at a reduced cost, like, you're going to get players like Mims and Reagor. These are guys that could go in the first round, non-superflex, but like, still the talent it's deep. So I agree with you 100% on that, John.
Absolutely.
So Tyler, you said that your guy slid to the 207. Who is that man?
Better not
be T. Higgins.
Guy. Okay. Good.
Oh, great pick.
T. Baggins.
That's value, man.
T. Higgins. I love him. I think he is a Mike Williams-esque type receiver, and I think he will actually be more productive than Mike Williams early on in his career. I do still like Mike Williams, not bashing him. I think he's a good receiver, but T. Higgins is probably one of the better big receivers in this draft. I know you just took Mims, but I feel like Mims is more of a speed guy at 6'3". Higgins is that true big man, deep threat. The poor man's Mike Evans style of play I see in him. I think it being the main recruit in his year coming out of high school helped out a lot, and with his athletic profile. I know he ran a 4.59, but at 6'4", about 220, that doesn't bug me. I mean, people were all worried about it, but I mean, that's a big dude running 4.59, so I'm not completely worried about that. He had a couple drops in college that worries me, but I think the way he was used in Clemson's offense, that didn't really bother me, because he was used as a big play deep threat. He had to go up and get the ball a bunch. So T. Higgins has major upside, and at this pick, what are we at? 207. 207. Yeah. I mean, I love that value right there.
Again, another solid player here later in the second round. So let's get on to Okada. He's up at the 208.
Okay, now I have to make sure. We're about to hit an hour. Are we going to round 3, or are we cutting it at 2 rounds?
2.
Okay. All right. Then I'm going to take my guy, because this is my chance to get him. This is a guy that I've talked about a lot. New. After the quarterbacks we've taken already, I don't want any of the other ones. Thank you. Pass. Brandon Ayuk, wide receiver out of Arizona State.
Your boy.
Another one of the guys I profiled in our YouTube series. There's a reason that I'm picking them. It's because I picked them in our YouTube profile series so that I could look at them more, because I liked them already. Ayuk is a guy that I love. I don't want to say he's a Tyreek Hill-esque player, because he's not as fast as Tyreek, because almost nobody is. But he's got a similar frame, like a kind of stocky, muscular frame, but mixed with incredibly good speed. And he is a guy who, after the catch, will destroy you. So He's a little bit landing spot, and he's a little bit more of a project than some of the guys we've talked about. He's not necessarily the most elite route runner. He's certainly not a Jerry Jeudy. But he's a guy who, if you get him in the right system, if he went to the 49ers, I would love it. Give him a place where he can make yards after the catch part of his game, and he will be very, very productive for fantasy. So this is probably even earlier than you need to get him, but I wanted to get him because it's a mock draft.
You said his name really weird. I pronounce it a yuck.
Oh,
is that correct?
Hold on, I have the official pronunciation somewhere in my email.
It's a you.
I will say
I'm not a fan. That's what
I got you.
Clocked in at 6'1", 206 is his measurables.
Oh. All right, so let's move it on to bets with the 209.
Yeah, I was all ready to talk about that same player. Okada, of course, snipes me. So, listen, this is not on brand for me, obviously, as the injury guy. But at this draft capital, Laviska Shenault has very nice upside. The injuries are a concern, I will say that. But at a late second-round pick, I mean, you could argue he's the most explosive, dynamic weapon at the offensive side of the football in this draft. They line him up all over the place.
Otherwise. I'm done with the Zach Moss bash.
They line him up all over the place. A little bit of Wildcat in Colorado, but dude, when the ball is in his hands, it's lights out. So it's got to be the right landing spot. I think he's a bit of a project in the NFL, so I don't think you're going to get year one production out of him. But that type of upside, I'm fine taking him at the late second round pick.
All right. Well, that leaves it up to me for the 210. A lot of different ways I could go here, but my gut, this is like a gut pick for me. I have actually a lot of late second round picks, and I think I'm going to be landing on this guy quite a bit. It's Michael Pittman Jr. I think he's going to be a really, really productive pro. I don't think he's going to be a fantasy all-star, but he's going to be the kind of guy that you want on your roster that could be a solid wide receiver 3 with a little bit of upside if he lands in the right spot. Because I think he can, he measured a lot better than a lot of people thought he would. If you look at his tape, there's a lot of things to like. His route running's pretty clean. Obviously, he has the lineage. His dad was yoked as a running back for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, so that's always fun to talk about. But I feel that Pittman in a landing spot like a Washington Redskins could get some opportunity in year one. Him and McLaurin. You've got Kelvin Harmon there. I don't know.
Sims.
Yes, you have Sims. I do like Steven Sims.
The Colts would be a good spot.
Colt. There's just something. I think Pittman is going to be one of those guys that like people. I don't say they forget about him, but I think he's going to be more productive for fantasy than people give him credit for in his career. So I like Pittman here at the very end of a second round. And we're not doing a third.
No, I just want to say I really hope this whole entire offseason that somebody came on Twitter and was like, man, Michael Pittman looked way better at running back than he did at receiver, and like watch his dad's highlight tapes. Yeah.
Like, wow, this guy is jacked. He's been hanging out with David Boston. Like, this dude is yoked. What was the safety for the Jets? Landry. LaRon Landry was also one of those roided out of his
arms
mind.
With the toy.
That dude's biceps were unreal.
My God, just an absolute.
Let's not forget about Robert Turbin.
True.
Yeah, Turbin's another one with notorious pipes. We're gonna have a notorious pipes fantasy football team. Who's a quarterback that had notorious pipes? Now we
Brady Quinn.
He was more cut than big, though.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Brady Quinn's shoulders were
Tim Tebow.
Yeah.
Tebow was pretty thick.
Tebow's the Carol Baskins of the NFL.
DK Metcalf, wide receiver 1.
What does that even mean?
Like the way he talked.
Yeah,
the way on the team. Like, hey, everybody, how's it going? This is Tim Tebow. I just want to say.
What's up, you cool cats and kittens? I sound like I'm drunk all the time. She sounds loaded. She's probably high on something. But anyway, TMZ tomorrow night. We're on Fox. Tiger King behind the scenes. Can't wait to watch it. It's going to be terrible.
Let's go.
Oh,
so that is going to wrap up our mock. We didn't get to round 3. Apologies are in order. Before we leave, Tyler, I don't care about you as much, but Red Shirt, this is a great mashup. A great time to talk some news and to do this mock and highlight the quarterback position, because it is a really nice quarterback class here. Mm-hmm. We don't get too many where it's like 4 or 5 guys deep. So this is really, really nice. So any last words from any of the Red Shirts, Matt, and John?
Fellas, This was a blast. I have to apologize for this guy to my left on the screen. John, comes on the show and we try to make a good name for ourselves, and then he just comes out here and splurs this nonsense about
what
everyone
nonsense?
going to the Seahawks. No,
everyone going to the Seahawks. True.
I didn't
Running
say
back.
that.
You
I said
definitely
they
did.
need a running back in
6
Seattle.
running backs to the
You
Seahawks.
guys
They
have
have-
Rashad Penny. Oh,
they
did you
have
guys trade him?
Stop it. They
No.
have Chris Carson as a injured last year on his contract 7th round pick running back.
You can
They have
have
Rashad
one
Penny.
running back, John. You can't have 7. That's all.
I didn't
we're
say
saying.
that. I literally mentioned 2. I
heard
literally
5.
mentioned
In all-
2.
I heard at least
Serious.
5.
Pro Sites is still a street free agent. I'm saying.
My parting word will be: I did pull up our official NFL research packet on the combine, and it is Ayuk.
Ayuk.
All right,
I
So
know.
if you want to be cool, pronounce it Ayuk. If you want
If
to,
you
I
don't
was
like him, then you can throw
joking.
shade and be
I'm just saying.
Joking. But no,
like Teabag
I can't-
Higgins.
my last word is going to be I cannot wait to Twitter DM John and see if he's still alive when Zach Moss goes to Seattle in the second
Oh,
I won't
I'm
be.
here
got
for it,
him.
I
Yeah.
won't be.
round.
He's gonna grow some moss on that beard. I'll tell you
he
that. much.
is he is a typical Seattle's running back. And
That's pretty
I think
true. Actually,
he is scared right now just thinking about it.
Hey, if it
I
happens,
can see the tears welling up in his
He's got
eyes.
the denial.
Okada, let's put
head
some more
nod.
budget into buying John a Zach Moss Seahawks jersey.
Yes.
I'm down. Let's do it.
By the way,
as long as
by
we
the
can
way-
also get me a Jalen Hurts Patriots jersey.
By the way,
Oh,
2 more
yes.
days till I get those fresh Atlanta one. Julio.
Oh, nice. Which
Yeah.
you got a Julio one? Nice with the big old ATL on the front. That's the only thing I don't
Which
like. About
which
Yeah.
color? Which option do you go with?
Black.
it. You got to
Yeah.
go with black.
You gotta go
Always
with
The
black.
black ones that look like the longest yard jerseys.
They're not
Kind
the
of.
longest yard.
Hey, a
They're
little
the
bit.
exact same.
They a little
thing.
bit are.
They're not.
Exactly the
They're
same
better
thing.
than the red ones. The black that fades up to the red.
The gradient ones. I think
Yeah.
they're calling
Yeah.
them. Yeah, I'm not a fan. Not a fan.
The all whites are nice though.
Should have gone
But
with
I
gray.
would- I would spill on the all white. Like there's no without a doubt
You
there'd
got
be
to
a
put some of
buffalo
that
wing.
Scotch guard on it, so it just beads right off.
There'd be a buffalo wing that would roll from here on my
Yeah.
shoulder all the way down, and it'd just be a nice pinstripe.
Nice. Well, I'm going to wrap us up. I'll give out you guys' Twitter handles because they're conveniently right in front of me. So you can reach Matthew Betts at the Fantasy PT for all your medical needs. He's going to be your guy. So we talked about Tua's injury. We talked about Laviska Shenault and his injury history a little bit. We've got John at Dynasty Beard. Very fitting. He's got a beautiful, beautiful beard. Zach Moss
Nice.
growing all in it by this time in a few weeks.
Yes.
And then we've got at Matt Okada, my new best friend, Pats and Jalen Hurts. Like, let's make
Let's
this happen.
go.
Like, this is pretty easy. You can find me at DeFantasyFather, and you can find Tyler at DHH_Tyler for any other kind of miscellaneous things that you want to talk about. Tiger King, whatever, Andy Dalton, Carson Wentz, all that stuff.
Anything
Any-
ginger.
Anything? Whoa, that's our word. How dare you?
Gingerbread, ginger snaps, like whatever.
Love it.
It's all good. You just hit up Tyler, slide into his DMs. He's always willing to chat. So that's going to do it for this mashup. Once again, thank you to Red Shirts. You can reach them at RedShirtsFFPod, so make sure to follow them and follow us at Dynasty HH Pod if you're not already. Go on iTunes, leave a review for everyone. 5 stars, because we're awesome. So that's going to wrap it up for this mashup. This is DHH, and that was Red Shirts. We'll see you next week.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode of the Red Shirts Fantasy Football Podcast. Hit us up on Twitter at RedShirtsFFPod and check out our website, redshirtsfantasyfootball.com.